On page 97 of his 2001 book, The Art of Seduction, Robert Greene wrote, and I quote, "Charismatic have certain qualities that are powerful, attractive, and that makes them stand out. They keep the source of these qualities mysterious." We all need to persuade, influence, or even charm other humans sometimes. But wait, why are some people so charismatic, charming, persuasive, and influential when most other people can't even get anyone to follow or do their bidding? For most of humans' history, we've always believed that charisma or the ability to persuade people are inborn traits. For example, in his 1922 book, Theory of Social and Economic Organization, Max Weber defined charisma as a certain quality of an individual personality by virtue of which he is set apart from ordinary men and treated as endowed with supernatural, superhuman, or at least specifically exceptional powers or qualities. In fact, the origin of the English word charisma, which was from the Greek word charisma, means gift of grace, meaning, well, you either bring it from heaven or you don't have it. You can steal other people's food, but you can't steal charisma.
吃饭了，老公。
你吃肉。
妈呀，不用。
你吃肉，你吃肉，你吃肉，你吃肉。
如果不是亲眼所见，我是万万不敢相信的。
The idea that you can't be charming, charismatic, or persuasive except you were born with it began to fall apart when researchers started looking into specific traits which make people persuasive. For example, in their 2018 study, researchers at the University of Toronto carried out a large-scale study into charisma involving over 1,000 people. They found that charisma consists of a mixture of what they called affability and influence. To perfectly explain what these researchers called affability and influence, let me tell you a personal story. In June of 2005, I got admission to a polytechnic to study accounting. Resuming a class of more than 700 people on the first day of school was a strange thing. Everyone was a stranger and nobody had a status yet. Fortunately for me, I came across this book. Reading how to win friends and influence people drastically changed my life. For example, I read in the book that people like to be called by their names. So I would go to classes with the goal of knowing 10 people's names. I would approach my classmates, smile and give them eye contact because I learned that too from the book. Then ask for their names after telling them my name. Oftentimes after you tell me your name, I would run to a corner, take out a pen and write your name on a sheet of paper or my palm. I would read your name a few minutes later so I wouldn't forget, and when I see you the next day, instead of calling you hey or my friend, I'll call you Elizabeth, James, or whatever your name is. I remember doing some silly things for my mates. If I mistakenly stepped on your toes, I was down there cleaning your shoe before you stopped me. Our poor school environment didn't have running water, so if you met me at a well, I was ready to draw water for you. If you're talking to me, I will give you 200% of my attention. And if you need me to go solve a problem, I would happily leave my life to fix yours. Within 3 months of being in that school, I had become one of the 3 most influential people in my class. And a year later, I became a political leader on campus. I was famous, loved by hundreds of people, and you can easily say I was the most charismatic person in my class. But here is the thing. Most things that made me charismatic, I learned from books. That is not to say that there are no inborn traits that help people become charismatic, but with dedication and practice, most of us can become more charismatic. As for me, I didn't understand the charms that made me popular in the year 2005, but I now know that everything I did which made me famous and charismatic could be summarized in 2 traits. 1, affability, and 2, influence. To be charismatic, charming, or persuasive, you have to understand the concept of affability and influence. So, let's explain those. Oxford Dictionary defines affability as the quality of having a friendly and good-natured manner. In other words, affability is how you make people feel whenever they have contact with you. In her 2005 book, The Fine Art of Small Talk, Deborah Fine wrote, and I quote, "All things being equal, people will buy from a friend. All things being not quite so equal, people will still buy from a friend." If you make people feel important, you become magnetic. They like you, see you as their friends, and want to spend more time around you, help you out, and make sacrifices for you, or even lend you their glasses if you have a problem with your eyes.
有人。
你那个，你上医院看过没？你指定是有点毛病。你说你。
Meet every stranger as your best friend. According to a research study of 10,000 people conducted by the University of Pennsylvania, we decide whether we like someone or not after just 3 seconds of meeting them. What charismatic people do is to meet every stranger as though they were friends. How do you meet your best friends? You look at their eye, smile with all your face, including your eyes, and speak with a tone of voice that says, "I like you." If you do the same each time you meet strangers, you'll get them to like you, which is the first step in the journey of charisma. But why does this work? In the 1980s and 1990s, neuropsychologist Giacomo Rizzolatti and his colleagues at the University of Parma published their studies about what they later called neurons, which is the neurons in your brain which fires whenever you do something or observe someone else doing such things. For example, if you see someone laughing, the neurons in your brain responsible for laughter get activated, just as though you are laughing, which may then lead you to laugh. In the same way, seeing a friendly, smiley face of someone activates in your brains the neurons responsible for friendliness. This 2019 research shows, for example, that eye contact activates the limbic mirror system, which means that the same neurons that are firing in someone's brain can be made to fire in other people's brain when they meet. Because of this, we feel that the person who meets or talks to us as our friend is actually our friend. You've experienced that before. You've met with someone and after only 5 minutes you feel like they're your good friends. If you meet new people the way you meet your best friends, they'll be comfortable and like you because their brain signals to them that you are their friends. That means you genuinely smile with your entire face, give them eye contact, and use a friendly tone. In his 1936 book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie wrote, "To be interesting, be interested." 2. Call people by their names. Another thing we do with our best friends is we know their names. So you want to master the art of remembering people's name. According to this 2007 study published by Dennis Carmody and Michael Lewis, hearing one's name has unique brain functioning activation specific to one's name. Dale Carnegie says, "A person's name is to him or her the sweetest and most important sound in any language." 3. Reveal your dark side. Another thing you want to do around people is to reveal your dark side, your weaknesses. For example, I was chatting on WhatsApp the other day when one of my employees used an English word I didn't understand. I could have easily copied that word and checked it out on Google, but that was an opportunity for me to show him my weakness. So I sent him a message. "Sorry, Mr. James, I honestly don't know what the word Ludain means." He then happily explained to me the meaning of the word. In his 2015 book, The Like Switch, the former FBI agent Jack Schaffer wrote, "People need to be right, but people have a stronger need to correct others. People love to teach you and they'll be happy if you let them. If you want to be charismatic, you don't want to appear too perfect. Humans love people we can relate to, but at the same time have some weaknesses. We love to feel superior over others, and we love to teach someone else what we know. Look for every opportunity to reveal some of your weaknesses, even if that means smoking weed in public as the CEO of a billion-dollar company."
Okay. How does that work? Do people get upset at you if you do certain things? There's tobacco and marijuana in there. That's all it is.
Doing a few silly things will make people feel slightly superior to you, at the same time feel attracted to you because you seem so real. While affability is the foundation of charisma, influence is the end goal. To understand how influence works, we have to ask ourselves what makes us follow someone or even choose to be around them longer than normal. That leads us to the fourth step towards being a charismatic person. 4. Share the vision of a positive future.
We shall send to the moon, 240,000 miles away, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body and then return it safely to Earth. But why, some say, the moon?
In our 2014 book, Gravitas, Caroline Goida wrote, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are a leader." Think about the most charismatic people in the world and tell me one thing they all have in common. Vision. Every single individual we want to follow and die for shows us the picture of a bright future, and that is why we love them.
This is a 21st century bicycle that amplifies a certain intellectual ability that man has. And I think that after this process has come to maturity, the effects that it's going to have on society are actually going to far outstrip even those that the petrochemical revolution has had.
Whether it was Henry Ford who believed he could figure out how to mass-produce automobiles, Nelson Mandela who thought he could liberate his people from the apathy regime, or Elon Musk who thinks he could take us to Mars, truly charismatic people get us excited and committed because they show us the picture of a possible future. This doesn't mean that you need to have the vision of Vladimir Lenin or that of Mahatma Gandhi to influence people or become charismatic. It only means that you have to be optimistic and talk about what is possible, not how the sky is about to break. For example, when I was in the Polytechnic, I would tell my friends that we were going to have the best results in the class and challenge them to read like mad. Positivity attracts people to you, while negativity repels them. Nobody wants to be around negative people, but everyone wants to be friends with a positive dreamer. On page 98 of his book, The Art of Seduction, Robert Greene wrote, "If people believe you have a plan, that you know where you're going, they will follow you instinctively." 5. Pretend to be confident until you are. In her 2015 book, Presence, Amy Cuddy wrote, "When our body language is confident and open, other people respond in kind, unconsciously reinforcing not only their perception of us, but also our perception of ourselves." When it comes to confidence, most of the time, you'll have to fake it till you have it. And we've made a video to teach you how to do that. Check it in the description box. 6. Become mysterious by becoming a master. I started this book with the fact that charisma, or the ability to influence people, was once perceived as a gift from God, a grace, or an inborn trait that few people have and others can't. This is usually because charismatic people often have the capacity to do a few things that most of us can't do. This can be Martin Luther King Jr. with his oratory power, or Donald Trump with his ability to say just anything he likes.
I used to get great press until I ran for politics. I used to be the king of getting good press.
And this is how I got elected, by being off script.
We admire people who can do what we can't because they seem to have some inborn abilities. What we don't know, however, is that oftentimes what we admire isn't mystery, but mastery. Take, for example, in February of 1897, Vladimir Lenin was sentenced without trial to 3 years exile in eastern Siberia. When he returned to Russia after his first exile, his revolutionary activities made him earn another exile in 1907, this time around for a decade. In all those years in exile, Lenin immersed himself in reading and intellectual argument, and by the time he returned to Russia in 1917, he was an untouchable fire with the aura of mystery. He had spent several years intellectually preparing himself for the task ahead of him so much that his ability seemed like magic. Think about the athlete, Babe Didrikson.
The final round of the Women's National Open at the Salem Country Club near Boston, Betty Hicks in second place.
In public, she was a mysterious golf genius, but in private, she would practice 1,000 golf shots every single day. Generally, when you excel in something that others can't, you become magnetic. Everyone likes you, wants you around, and wants to follow you. It is the reason we love Muhammad Ali, Celine Dion, or Jordan Peterson. It is difficult to influence other people or get them to follow you except you're a master in something, and the process of being a master starts from dedication to a skill. In conclusion, to be charismatic, persuasive, or influential, you just have two things to do. First, pay attention to your affability, or how you make people feel around you. If you don't know how to make people feel comfortable, like you, and see you as their friend, you can't influence them. Second, your influence, which comes as a result of your ability to share a vision of a better future, your courage or confidence when it's needed, and your mastery of a skill that most people can't master. Though the journey to become a super charismatic person may be long, you can start today by working on your affability. Thanks for watching.